When I went to the World Cup, obviously I had this moment. I was playing against South Africa and Rabada was coming on to bowl. I've spent all my childhood watching this man bowl on TV and now he's about to bowl to me. There was a very, very clear chance for a run out, but I saw they collided and I was like, you know what, like if it was me, I would have hated it. I just dove and took that catch and I remember I completely lost it. So I took the catch and I ran around the 30-yard circle and even he doesn't know what he's doing. So how am I
I'm sure
supposed
he
to know?
knows. I'm sure he knows. We'll ask him. We'll have him on the show.
You must ask him.
We have 17 dismissals in 18 games.
Yeah.
Not shabby
Yeah.
as a keeper. Yeah. Welcome back to In the Middle with Cricket. My name is Vinit Oza and I am co-founder of Cricket, a UAE-based cricket lifestyle and equipment brand. In the Middle is a podcast where we speak to people and understand their stories, their anxieties, their pressures, everything basically that makes the game feel more personal. So today we have with us Syed Muhammad Haider Shah, but we call him Wasi. He's made his international debut a couple of years ago, and again, record-breaking debut. He's been highest scorer at the emerging tournament. Wasi, welcome to In the Middle.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Vinit bhai. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Let's get straight in.
Yeah.
Wasi, let's start with the ACC Men's Premier Cup.
Yeah.
You got the most dismissals there in the finals,
Yeah.
right? So when you're playing with bowlers that you're not used to playing with in a long season, etc., how easy or difficult is it for you to map out their like release points and a bowler and a keeper work together, right, in a team, but in a place where you've been thrown in with people from different teams that play in different places all over the year? How do you manage that?
To be honest, I try and, keep my game as simple as possible. So I don't really, like look at who's bowling or, how they're bowling. To be honest, as I said, I just keep it simple. So I just, watch ball and I try to follow the ball as much as possible. And, I try and basically like kind of remove the batsman from my vision
Right.
as much as I can because, I just want to make sure there are no distractions. So, it's a very weird way of thinking, but yeah,
Interesting,
that's what I
right?
do.
So as a keeper, you're basically, when you do these drills where in the nets,
Yeah.
where you have the single wicket drills, right, where you don't have the batsman there.
Yeah.
So when you're playing, do you visualize that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I visualize
Wow.
because,
And then react to where the ball moves.
yeah, basically because, if you start thinking about what the batter's going to do
Yeah.
or, if he's going to edge it or, if he's going to step out, you're basically kind of, tracking off from all the work you've put in.
Right.
So, it's just, as I said, just the best thing to do is just keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Fair enough. And you do it quite well too. You have had some injury issues of late, right? You got into the international scene and then suddenly it's very frustrating to get an injury, right?
Yeah.
So now that you've gotten through rehab and you're back in action, does that play on your mind? Like, does it stop you from giving 100% thinking, oh shit, I don't want to get injured again?
An injury is a very, big setback in a player's career, especially, it being the knee injury.
Yeah.
So obviously, it plays a lot on my mind when, I'm turning or like, when I'm fielding. As of now, I'm not allowed to keep because
Right.
of my knee. Yeah. So, obviously like while fielding, so when I'm diving, I'm very cautious and, if I'm running between the wickets, when I'm turning, I have to be very, careful.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm fully fit, it's just in my mind, that
Yeah.
one little
It's a
mistake.
switch that needs to be addressed.
One little
yeah.
mistake and it could happen all again and obviously when a player gets injured and especially someone like me who's just playing cricket full time, so during my rehab time, during my rest time, I had nothing else to do, so I was just sitting at home doing nothing.
Right.
And I was just watching my mates play cricket and
Yeah.
just watching my team play cricket. So it was just a really dark time for me, and so it's really scary because
can
I don't
imagine.
want to go back into that.
Yeah.
But it's the
But
sad
at the same
reality.
time, what you also want when you do go back is that you're doing it 100%, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of a balance that you have to strike.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
mental-
It's
the
just a very insane mental game.
game. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So let's talk about the role of the keeper, right? Over the last, say, 15, 20 years, let's go back even further. In the beginning, the role of the keeper was basically to keep, and they were specialist keepers, and maybe they contributed some runs, which they invariably did because the skills that you need as a batsman and the skills that you need as a keeper, whether it's footwork or watching the ball out of the bowler's hand, things like that. So keepers tended to contribute anyway lower down the order.
Yeah.
And then like you had somebody called Mr. Adam Gilchrist, and then Kalu Vitrana, Sangakkara, all of these guys, MS Dhoni after. They came and they sort of elevated the position of this keeper batsman, right? And then after them, it's a no-brainer. You have to be able to bat.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to contribute, right? Whichever position you're playing, some play as an opener, some play 4-5 down. Now it's almost come to a place, if you watch all these big franchise leagues, there are 2 and 3 and 4 keepers sometimes in a team. One of them keeps, the rest of them are there as pure batsmen.
Yeah.
Right? So the role has evolved of what a keeper used to do versus what he does now.
Yeah.
So do you think it's evolved such that now it is skewed more in favor of the batsman or being a better batsman than a better keeper, or do you think both disciplines are equally important?
No, I still feel like, as long as you can, bat and contribute to the team, that adds very good value to the team, of course. But I think you need to be able to be the best keeper around in the team or in the franchise or, in the, you could say in the domestic circuit.
Yeah.
In order to break into the international side or in order to play bigger level of cricket, you need to be the absolute best in keeping, because that's your standout main role, because you're known as a wicket keeper batsman now. So for example, you could end up scoring 100, and then you drop the catch of a main batsman in the opposition side.
You get one chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously it's very tough to be a wicket keeping batsman, because obviously as a batsman all you have to do is just score runs. If you don't, then maybe you'll get 3 or 4 balls on the field, and you just have to make sure that you're concentrated and focused for that. But in ODI, for example, as a wicket keeper you have to focus 300 balls while you're keeping. And obviously when you're put into bat, you need to make sure that you add value to the scorecard. And you add runs to the scorecard. So it's tough, but I'm glad.
I mean, there's been instances in the past. In the 90s, there was if you remember, in the Indian team, there was a wicket keeper called Deep Das Gupta. Okay, he's a commentator nowadays. So Deep Das Gupta was on that tour. I think it was of Australia. He was the only keeper that was on that tour. Okay, so his position should have been super safe.
Yeah.
In the middle of the tour, I think after he played one game or something like that, Saurav Ganguly, who was captain then, comes to Deep Das Gupta's room, and I heard this on a cricket podcast as well, and I thought it's relevant, so I'll share it here. He came and he said, "Sorry, you're not playing tomorrow." But he's like, "But I'm the only keeper in the whole squad. There's no other keeper." "No, Rahul Dravid will keep because of the balance of the squad."
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is just a specialist keeper at that time, only one, was dropped in favor of somebody who could probably bat better. Do you think that's happening today?
To be honest, I mean, it depends, as Saurav Ganguly said, the balance of the team. So if the balance of the team is as such where you need an extra batter, you need someone who can bat and is a part-time keeper, then most teams, to keep that balance or to keep that batting strength, would go with that. But someone who has batting depth, someone who is a better keeper, and some teams who know they need someone who specializes only in wicket keeping, will always maybe they'll just keep one keeper in the squad and play him maybe 10-15 games,
right?
As long as he's doing his job right, and as long as everyone else around him is doing his job right. Because when you're a specialist keeper, to be honest, the team doesn't really ask much from you with the bat. What they want is because as a specialist keeper, like obviously they do need you to score runs, but they don't, like, if you don't score, as long as you're doing the keeping part,
the core job
as long as you're doing the keeping part right, as long as you're making sure that you're adjusting, because now added on to the keeping role is the field adjustments. So we have to make sure
right in the center, right?
Exactly.
You're watching it,
you've got the best view. So obviously as long as you're doing all those parts right, as long as you're helping out the bowlers in the middle as well, because again you've got the best seat right. So as long as you're doing all the other things right, you can maybe tone it down a bit by the bat.
Priority wise. But did you train harder in your keeping than you do in your batting, or?
To be honest, I became a keeper in 2017 in my first under-19 tour.
Right.
Before that, I really kept. And then after that came the men's. So 4 years I played under 19.
Yeah.
And then after that, I debuted for the men's side.
Yeah.
In the middle, yes, I would keep. And when I came to the men's camp, they asked me to keep. And when I started keeping there, I also told the coach I field as well. So I think I'm a better fielder than I'm a better keeper.
You have 17 dismissals in 18 games.
Yeah.
Not shabby
Yeah.
as a keeper. Yeah.
But obviously, so I told the coach that I can field really well as well. So then he saw me fielding, and then he was like, "You're the only keeper in the camp who can field as well.
Yeah.
Like you're amongst the top fielders in the team."
Right.
So I was happy, knowing because that if they have an extra keeper, they can maybe use me as a fielder.
Right.
Obviously, I was just looking at all the possibilities, the way I can get into the team.
Right.
And then obviously I had a really, really bad game against Hong Kong because, as I said, I didn't keep. So I didn't really have my cricket keeping gear with me. So I used someone else's. Now with me, we've spoken about this.
Yes.
I'm a very comfort kind of player.
You
So
need your stuff.
I need my stuff to be exactly the way it should be. Yeah. So obviously it wasn't like that, and I didn't really keep well in the Hong Kong game. Now going on to the tour, I wasn't in the starting 11. Things happened in the first game. The first choice keeper at that stage didn't really do well. Maybe, it was, God's plans. So obviously second game I come in, coach is really happy with my keeping. The team is really happy with my keeping. 0 buys.
This time you had your stuff.
Yeah, this time I had my stuff. 0 buys from me, no fumbles, nothing.
Yeah.
In fact, I saved a couple of fivers as well.
Wow. Okay.
So the second game comes on, no dismissals, 0 buys. Third game comes on, no dismissals, 0 buys. Now we go into the semi-finals. We've been training really hard. Obviously on tour, you're not training as hard as you do in camp, but you're just kind of going through the motion with it.
Yeah.
So as long as you're keeping yourself ready for the game.
Yeah.
So semi-final, come semi-final, we are playing against Nepal. I was thinking about it the whole tournament. I was like, I haven't gotten a dismissal yet. Maybe I might not get a dismissal this time.
It's as a keeper, a dismissal is as much a function of a batsman making a mistake or a bowler bowling a brilliant delivery. It's not entirely up to you as such, right?
Exactly,
it has to come and then you can snag it.
Exactly. So, the whole tournament, I was just thinking, I've had 0 dismissals. I've had 0 opportunity to create a dismissal.
That's it, yeah.
And I was like, maybe this tour, I'll go back with 0 dismissals. And, obviously, playing against Nepal, wherever in the world, they have their fans coming up.
Sure.
So, it was my first time playing against a team with fans in the stadium.
Right.
So while I was walking onto the field, there were I think, not that big of a crowd, but there were 800, 900 people standing right behind me. And, as I think it was, who was it? I can't remember who the batsman was. No, who was it? I can't remember, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the batsmen walk in from Nepal team and you hear a big roar,
Yeah.
And it's my first semi-final, as a UAE national player.
Yeah.
So as I heard
Big
the
moment,
roar,
yeah.
I went numb. And I had just drank some water in the dressing room. And I was telling the guy at Slips, I was like, I need water. I need water. I was very nervous.
Yeah.
And then, first ball.
Playing in front of crowds for the first time is something, I'm sure every player goes through it in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So you've been through it already now.
Yeah.
But first time is hard.
No, obviously, as I said, there are different types of players,
Yeah.
So I'm one of those, who likes to basically get the princess treatment. So I'm just one of those guys, I just like to be in my bubble. So
Right.
as long as I'm in my bubble, I'll perform as the best way I can. But
Right.
as soon as the things get hard from my own team, that's when I start getting very nervous. Anyways,
Yeah.
so first ball the batsman nicked it. Juni Bhai, about Junaid Siddiqui, right? Juni Bhai told me, he was like, it was one of the best catches, that he's seen a wicketkeeper take off of his bowling.
Right.
Because it was falling way ahead of me. And
Yeah.
I just dove and took that catch. And I remember I completely lost it. So I took the catch and I ran around the 30-yard circle.
That was your own anxiety that was
Exactly.
suddenly released
I was
and
like,
you're fine now.
thank
Yeah.
God. I was
yeah.
like, my first dismissal in the semi-final, that too, against Nepal in front of a crowd. I was like, I was going crazy. I was
Awesome.
like, God damn.
What a
man.
moment.
I swear. And then
Yeah.
I ended up getting, I think, 3 dismissals that game. And I also got awarded for the spirit of the game because there was a incident where Juni and I think Gulshan Shah, they collided.
Right.
And no, I think Juni and Karan Casey collided.
Right.
And there was a very clear chance for a run out, but I saw they collided and I was like, you know what, like if it was me, I would have hated it. Like, you know, if I'm as a batsman colliding with someone and the
Yeah, yeah.
keeper just takes it and throws it off.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Seems
you know,
opportunistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was
We
like,
were
it's-
we were talking earlier to Adil about spirit of the game versus laws of the game.
yeah.
Laws of the game will allow it.
Yeah,
But the
the spirit of the game doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, for that matter, in fact, you know, as I said, if God wills, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously, a lot of the people came up to me after the game and they were, you know, praising me about it. So, yeah, I'm always thankful for it, you know.
When was your first international tour experience?
Tour experience as in
Going
us
to another country and playing there?
representing UAE or just
Yeah, at the end, at a good level, right? At the under
Okay.
16, under 19 level.
So I never actually played under 16.
Just straight under 19.
Yeah, so I think I was 15 when I played my first under 19. And I remember clearly my first under 19 tour was Malaysia 2017.
Okay.
And it
What
was
was it
in
like?
November. Again, you know, nerve-wracking. Honestly, I was a wicket keeper. I had insane amount of dismissals in that tour as well. I think I came home with 21, 22 dismissals in
Wow.
8 games.
And do you feel the difference? Like, you know, they talk about different playing conditions, and obviously, when you're looking at international sides, even the top quality batsmen from, let's say, the subcontinent will really struggle when they go to England or when they go to, you know, what used to be pitches in Australia, Perth, you know, all of that. They go, and similarly, and conversely, on spinning tracks, people from the, you know, countries where they used to bouncy wickets, they struggle, right?
Yeah.
So conditions make a big difference,
100%.
and for a keeper as well, not just for a batsman, right?
Yeah,
Because you have to
100%.
judge the bounce and,
Yeah,
and all of that.
100%.
So, did you find that it's difficult to adjust, or you were able to? It took you a couple of overs and then you were fine.
To be honest, you know, for me, it's as I said, I try and keep it as simple as possible. As long as I'm clear from here, I think I can make a pretty good adjustment, you know, to the conditions. But you can put me in the easiest conditions, but as long if I'm not right here, then you know I'll
Yeah.
mess up even the easiest things. But you can put me in the most difficult situations or conditions, and if my mind is doing what it's supposed to do, then you know I'll make everything look easy.
Yeah.
So I back myself the most.
So also, you know, in your under 19 days, there's touring sides that would have come here. Afghanistan had come here. You know, Lancashire, all of these.
Yeah.
These are all big international sides, right? These are sides who have players who are stars in their own right. How do you reconcile with not looking at them as icons or stars and start looking at them as targets?
To be honest, you know, obviously when you see the names, when you see the big players come, you know, like and play against you, obviously you're a bit, you know, starstruck.
Yeah.
So obviously that's just as you know, as I said, it's all a mental game.
Yeah.
So you know, you can be their biggest fan. Like for example, when I went to the World Cup, you know, obviously I had this moment. In
Yeah.
fact, I was playing against South Africa, and Rabada was coming on to bowl.
Oh wow.
And I was standing at the non-strikers, and then he bowled. I think he bowled to Ali Shan. And as he was coming back, I was looking at him, and I was like, I've spent all my childhood
Yeah.
watching this man bowl on TV, and now he's about to bowl to me.
Yeah.
You know,
This is
and-
pinch yourself moment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you know, when that realization, you know, just like ended, I was like, as soon as he crossed the umpire, I was like, okay, he's bowling to me.
He's just another
So,
bowler.
yeah,
At that point, he's not a star. He's like, okay, I've
Yeah.
got to score off this.
Exactly, and he's not bowling to anyone else. He's bowling to me, so he's gonna try and get me out. You know, so I just need to make sure that I'm switched on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something that you just have to, you know, like really realize as soon as possible because you know, as a lot of the players, you know, and the greats of the game say that you don't need to watch the bowler, you have to watch the ball.
Yeah,
And you don't
that's it.
need to look at
Yeah.
the batsman. You know, you just
Yeah.
need to focus on yourself.
It's a mental game again,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. So that's
So throughout, almost 10, 12 years, 12 years you've been at a fairly high level now since 2016, or since at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And of constant the grind and the pressure, and there's again, like you talked about yourself, of the selection anxieties and the all of these these experiences that you go through. So outside of the cricketing world, who's like this anchor that you go and talk to, and that gives you peace of mind and solace, and and those things, like who's your one person to go to outside of the cricketing world?
To be honest, I used to be an open book before. I used to talk to people a lot. I used to, like, just have people around me who would listen to me,
Yeah.
so I could get things off my chest and
Yeah.
just make myself feel better. But as of now, I'm just completely opposite to what I was. So for the longest time, it's been my mother.
Of course.
Alhamdulillah, I'm really, really grateful that she is
You're very
the
close
way
to
she
her.
is. Yeah, I'm very. I love her with my whole heart. So obviously, and my dad as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, I always used to go up to my mother, and I used to talk. I used to talk to her about things that were bothering me, or if I wasn't playing the game right, or how whatever the case may be. But obviously, as of recently, I've like kind of stopped it because I noticed that if I'm taking stress, she's taking stress, and
Alright.
she's very old now, so I don't want to give her that burden. So as of now, I've stopped. In fact, I have that one person. It's the team owner of Seven Districts, Mohammed
Right.
Haider, that I'm saying. Yeah, he guides me a lot. Whenever like I'm
Your
struggling
mentor or father
mentally.
figure to kind of, within the game.
So I've been struggling, a lot, like, obviously after injury and everything else, So
Yeah.
obviously he's been helping me out a lot. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
as like from the mental aspect of things, and then apart from that, obviously, whenever we get the chance to speak to the legends of UAE cricket like Mr. Adil Farouk, obviously, then every time we get a chance, we speak to him. Amin sir, Salman bhai,
Yeah.
all these, they're the core members of UAE
That
cricket,
family.
right? Yeah, that family of UAE
Yeah,
cricket,
yeah.
that has brought up so many youngsters and so
Yeah.
many great
We're
players.
truly invested in the sport in this.
Exactly. So every time we get a chance, we see them, we speak to them. But other than that, I think Mohammed Haider Dharamse is probably the one person that I speak to the most when it comes to
Right.
the mental side of the game. So yeah.
So you mentioned briefly earlier about saying something like you're not as expressive as a lot of wicket keepers tend to be, right?
Yeah.
Are you chirpy? Like, are you a chirpy
Oh,
guy?
very. I annoy the
So on
batsman.
the ground,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
chirpy.
Oh,
Give them hell.
on ground, you play against me, like I can.
You take it out on the ground.
I take it all out, especially if someone, like, obviously, there are people you like and there are people you don't like,
Yeah,
right?
sure,
just
sure,
because
sure.
of just because of their attitude. Like,
Yeah,
I don't have anything personal with anyone.
Yeah.
Just because of their attitude.
Yeah.
Maybe they're giving me ego. Maybe they're showing me some attitude. Then once they come onto bat, then I'll. Give
And it
them,
gets worse.
Yeah, then I'll give them a little something to hate.
Tell me about this is interesting. Sledges.
Sledges.
What is okay? So you yourself, you said a chirpy, right?
Yeah.
What is the sledge that you're most proud of? Don't give me batsman name and all of that.
So this guy, he's batting, right? So he's defending the hell out of it. And I told him, I was like, I went up to him and I was like, is the wicket a little tough? And he's like, no, it's very flat. Like, then why are you batting like that?
Yeah.
And then he goes like, what do you mean? I'm like, if you're batting like that on a flat track, when you go to the tour,
Yeah.
the X tour,
Yeah.
they're gonna eat you alive. Like, you're gonna come back as a failure. Imagine getting dropped after your second series.
Yeah.
Damn, that's bad. And then he looks at me and he goes like, huh. I'm like,
Yeah.
the coach
Trouble ahead
doesn't
for you, my friend.
Yeah, the coach doesn't want to see that.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
backing you, man.
Did that
Trust me.
did you get him?
Next ball he gets out.
Yeah. Success.
Yeah, and then the non-striker comes on to bat, and then outside the pitch he was telling me, he was like, oh, I'm taking a gap year to focus on cricket, this that, and he starts defending as well. And then I go up to him and then I told him, I was like, did you take a gap year? He was like, yeah. Like, to do what? I focus on cricket. Clearly it's not working. And he goes like, what do you mean? I'm like,
I love these. Keepers are the best at sledges.
yeah.
They really are.
And then the
Yeah.
next ball he gives a catch to me and I was like, I'm like, stick to
They go
studying.
back to studying.
Yeah, stick to studying, buddy. Cricket is not for you. So yeah,
Brilliant.
that's just how I am. It's all. I try and sledge and try and get the batsman out as much as I can
Yeah.
on the field, but outside the field, like.
So locker room, you'd be quiet. Or, because there's some like that, right? So there's always one or two guys in the team, like when you've had a tough day out on the field, it happens, right? There'll be one or two guys who'll be playing the music or telling jokes or lighting the mood. Are you
Sorry.
those, or you're the one that will be like, boss, I need to go home?
No. So as long as we enter the facility, as soon as I enter the facility, I'm a different man.
Right.
As soon as I exit the facility, I'm a different man.
Right.
So once I'm in the changing room, once I'm in the dressing room, once I'm in the game, I'm a different person to what I am outside the ground. Right. Like, obviously, if you were talking about sledges, we have Ronak here. Obviously, me and him, we always like, how I sledge everyone else. So I have jokes with him, we'll just start murmuring about the random stuff.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the people, they don't believe me when I say it, but it's the actual truth that we don't even play for the same team.
Same team,
We've
yeah.
not played under 19 together, but
Yeah.
we've gone so far back that I've had his name tattooed on me.
No way.
Yeah, that's Ronak's initial.
Wow.
So that's Ronak, that's Alishan. So I've got both of them. They're my boys. So
Wow.
I will
You go
always
back a
have,
long way.
yeah, I'll always
Yeah.
have love for them. Even if they're playing against me or they're playing with me, it's always a nice
So
time.
you're not going to give Ronak that kind of sledge if he's
Never,
batting. Yeah.
never, never.
Maybe slightly
I can
different.
never-
Maybe
I-
more refined. Yeah.
No, not even refined.
Still have to get him out. I mean, keep it.
Nah, the thing is, like, even if it's against us, if he's batting against us, or for Alishan for that matter, if they're playing, if it's one of my boys, even if it's against us and they play an amazing knock, I know they have the ability to take the game away. And there was a certain thing about our batch of under 19s, is the more you keep quiet, the better it is.
Right.
Because once you start sledging them, they're gonna give you hell.
Right.
Because that switches them on. That's how they are. Same thing with Alishan, same thing with Ronak, same thing with me. If the ground is quiet, we're gonna get out. But
Right.
as soon as you start sledging,
It spurs you on.
they're gonna give you hell. Especially with this guy, we all know, the whole UAE knows, he can take the game away in a second. From the get go, like from the
Yeah.
power play itself,
Yeah.
he can tell you like we
Yeah.
won the game now.
That's
Now
it.
what? So but even if it's an all important game, and he's batting, or if Alishan is batting for that matter, obviously I want them to do well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're my boys.
Sure.
Cricket is left on the ground,
Yeah.
and outside the ground, we know who we are, and how
Yeah.
close we are. So in the game, it happens if some ups and downs happen. That's fine. Obviously, even if he gets out, like when I'm there, so while he's walking out, I tell him,
Pat
this
on
is
the
what,
back.
yeah,
See you next time.
yeah, I
It's
tell
more
him,
cordial. Yeah.
I tell him you should have done this better, or
Yeah.
like, I tell him if he makes a mistake, I tell him, you're doing this because I'm right behind the stumps. Look, if winning and losing is part of cricket, right? If you're meant to win a game, you'll win a game, even if some guy scores 200.
Sure.
And if you're meant to lose the game, you lose the game even if you have them 9 down, right?
Sure.
So that's what I believe in. Obviously, I'm gonna put in my 100%, but
Yeah.
as long as it comes to my boys, my people,
Yeah.
I always want them to do well. Obviously, I don't want them to get me out, but
Apart from that, everything is.
apart from that, everything.
Tell me, so international cricket, when you were just starting to sort of earn your stripes as a keeper or as a keeper batsman, is there any one keeper batsman that you idolized who you say, okay, I want to be like this person?
To be honest, no, I really liked Shah Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Shea Hope is one of the classiest
Yeah.
batters that
Yeah.
I've seen in Test cricket.
Yeah.
But apart from him, I think probably he's a left-handed batsman, so it doesn't really make sense for me to copy his
Yeah.
batting. But Alex Carey or Brad Haddon actually no,
Haddon.
Brad Haddon was the guy, because I started batting number 7 for UAE.
Yeah.
Brad Haddon batted number 7 or number 6 for Australia.
Yeah, that's right. Lower order. Yeah.
And he was a proper power hitter as well.
Oh, yeah. Finishing games.
Yeah, and his keeping the way he kept wickets was just pleasing to the eyes.
Yeah.
Like it was like when he was collecting balls or when he's taking catches. It just looks too nice. So
Yeah.
Brad Haddon's always
Some
been the
people
one
just
guy.
have that. Roger Federer, just when he plays, he just looks elegant, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's got beaten by Djokovic and by Nadal and all of these people, but still is fluid. There's a fluidity
Yeah,
to some
exactly,
people. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So Brad Haddon has always been that one guy, one wicket keeper batsman for me that I've always kind of idolized. So
yeah. So in the UAE domestic scene, is there any one bowler whose variations always get to you that you're never able to, as a spinner?
as a spinner,
As as a spin bowler who you're keeping to,
Oh.
who you always find it so hard to
who
keep
I'm
it.
keeping to?
Yeah.
Dhruv Parashar.
Parashar.
Yeah, Dhruv.
Hard to
I just don't understand. He just comes in, does this, and bowls, and
Yeah.
even he doesn't know what he's doing. So how am I
I'm
supposed
sure
to
he
know?
knows. I'm sure he knows. We'll ask him. We'll have him on the show.
You
Yeah.
must ask him,
Yeah.
because honestly, like I've asked him so many times. I'm like, bro, what do you do? I don't get it. Sometimes the ball is swinging in, sometimes it's swinging out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're bowling in carom, sometimes you're bowling in armor. Sometimes it just goes off the wicket. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
I've had a great run as a wicketkeeper
Yeah.
for the UAE,
Yeah.
but it was a nightmare knowing DPs coming to bowl, because you know it's T20, right? So
Yeah.
I've only played T20.
Yeah.
In T20 he bowls quicker, like bowlers bowl
Yeah,
quicker
yeah,
than
dart
normal.
it in,
They
yeah.
try and dart it, and
Yeah.
and with Dhruv, he's an amazing bowler, right? He's
Yeah.
an amazing off spinner who has a lot of variations.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me to read, and especially he's a 6'3",
Yeah, he's tall. Yeah,
off
yeah.
spinner.
Yeah.
So you don't really expect that from such a tall guy. So obviously with the helmet on, I have to look up because I'm
'Cause
very
you're
short.
crouching. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, I'm very short. So with the helmet
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
I need to look up what's he doing. I need to
Yeah,
look
and
at
it's
it.
coming from 10 feet in the air, right?
Exactly. So I have to look at his hand properly, and by the time I'm registering through what he's bowling, it's already coming to me. So yeah, even the batsman doesn't know. So
Yeah.
even I don't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what's going on? So
Interesting.
I've always
We'll ask him when he comes on. the show.
100% you have to.
Yeah. Tell me, so dopamine hit wise, right?
Yeah.
What gives you a better kind of bigger dopamine hit? Is it like a lightning quick stumping, or is it because you're a bit of a batsman as well? Not a bit, you're quite a good batsman, right?
Okay.
Like top scorer in emerging tournament and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So you fancy yourself as a batsman. So lightning quick stumping or cover drive 4 to win the match.
To win the match.
Yes.
Of course to.
To win the
of
match,
course,
because
of-
win the match is everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's say not win the match.
Oh, not win the match. I'd still go
Silky
for the
cover drive.
Yeah,
You're saying?
silky cover drive. Yeah, it's a cheeky cover drive.
Cheeky cover drive.
Obviously, it's always so nice because as jumping, especially with the way I am and the position that I bat in, obviously a cover drive is not required most of the time.
Yes,
What's
it's-
required is just slog.
Slog it. Yeah.
So a quick stumping, I can get maybe, if there is a chance, maybe
You get enough off.
Yeah, enough
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But a silky cover drive with fielders outside,
Yeah.
just
Bigger rush.
Yeah, it just gives me such a nice feeling.
Fair enough. Last question to leave you with.
Yes.
There's this 14-year-old kid in Ajman practicing his glove work. Okay. He knows about Wasi.
Yeah.
He meets you. He says, "Boss, I want to be like you." What is your advice to him?
Just don't get in your head. Don't be like me. I will tell him. No, honestly. Jokes apart.
Why should he not be like you? You've done some good stuff.
I've had some tough times as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a very crazy mental battle that I have to deal with. But apart from that, the one thing that I would tell him is that, just keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Because keeping gets messed up when you try and add too much to it, when you try and do too much extra.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep it extremely simple, you're going to do really well. Just try and, the simple things, just get up with the bounce of the ball.
Yeah.
Focus on the bowler, not focus on the ball. Don't leave the batsman out. Just completely zone the batsman out. And, just try and be as flexible as possible and as free as possible. You're just moving with the air. So that way you'll
Keep it simple.
that way you'll just be able to move around very nicely and
Yeah.
calmly. So yeah, just keep it as simple as possible. And obviously, you have to, as a wicketkeeper, you have to put in the hard yards
Yeah.
because
Physically demanding job.
it's physically, it's mentally demanding.
Mentally as well,
It's a lot because, to be honest, if you're preparing for a 50-over game, right, that's 300 squats in its own. Okay.
That's it. Without anything else.
Without no balls or wides being bowled.
Yeah.
That's 300 squats within itself. And then, to train for it, you have to do 600, 900 of those,
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
And you have to make it your muscle memory, because what most people don't realize is that, keeping is way harder than it looks. And I've said it so many times, and I'll say it as many times as possible, that keeping is a very thankless job. You do it right,
जिंदगी जोहद मुसलसल की तरह काटी है, जाने किस जुर्म की पाई है सज़ा याद नहीं। मैं अकेला ही चला था जानबे मंजिल, मगर लोग मिलते गए, कारवां बनता गया। ये सब तुम्हारा करम है आका, ये सब तुम्हारा करम है आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, के बात अब तक बनी हुई है।
Nobody
That's your job.
notices. Yeah.
That's your job.
Like goalkeepers as
Exactly.
well.
That's your job.
Yeah.
You make one mistake, the whole team is gonna be, gunning for you.
Yeah.
Especially the one bowler
The
that
bowler.
you make the mistake on, because especially like in conditions like Oman or like in Dubai for that matter, with very
It's hard to get chances or create opportunities, right?
with very batter friendly wickets.
Yeah.
When a bowler creates a chance and you mess it up,
Yeah.
it's a long day for you on the field because first the bowler's gonna give it to you,
Yeah.
then God forbid that batsman scores runs,
Then
the
you're in
team is gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Then you come out of the ground, the coach is gonna give it to you, and then you come out of the dressing room, you're gonna be reminded of it. Actually, one thing that I'm really thankful for in the UAE setup is that they don't remind you of the mistakes that you made.
Right.
That's something that I really love.
Yeah.
Whatever happens on the ground is left on the ground.
Right.
Outside the ground, it's your life, you enjoy, you get your mind off of it. And
Yeah.
that's something that's helped me a lot in cricket and in keeping as well. But apart from that, obviously, your family reminds you, your friends remind you the mistakes that you made. My friends still remind me of the one catch. He sends videos of that catch.
That's what friends are for. Right?
Yeah, obviously it's. I still, argue that it was a six that I tried saving, but they say that I completely missed it. In my defense, I was just coming on to feel I was the 12th man. In fact, I was the 13th man in that game. Ali Nasir got hit on his face, and it was going for a six. I tried to save it again.
For what it's worth, you've done a great job so far.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
And that was Wasi Shah, and we had a fantastic conversation, and we know that he'll be back in the thick of things once again, and we'll watch his progress very closely. Also, don't forget to go to cricket.net and get your high quality cricket gear and cricket apparel. That was In the Middle with Cricket. We'll see you next time.